Everyone. Welcome back to EWL, English with Louise. Have you ever found yourself staying quiet in a conversation, afraid to express your true opinion because you didn't want to appear as rude or confrontational? Well, you're not alone. Today we're diving into the art of disagreeing in English politely. Whether you're a non-native speaker or just looking to brush up on your social skills, stay with me because we're breaking down everything you need to know with plenty of tips and examples along the way. So let's get started. Let's face it, disagreeing can be awkward. No one wants to cause tension or offend anyone, right? But here's the good news. Disagreeing doesn't have to be a bad thing. In fact, in English-speaking cultures, disagreements are often seen as opportunities for dialogue and growth. But, and this is a big but, the way you disagree matters a lot. Imagine you're in a meeting and your colleague suggests an idea that you don't agree with. Do you just blurt out, "That's a terrible idea"? No, no, no. That would stop the conversation completely or start an argument. Your colleague would feel upset because your direct disagreement sounds aggressive. Instead, there are polite strategies you can use to disagree without causing any drama. Let's break down 3 key strategies you can use to keep the peace and still get your point across. First, acknowledge and show understanding. This is like saying, "Okay, I understand what you're saying, I hear you," before you dive into your own point of view. It's a way of showing respect for the other person's opinion, even if you don't agree with it. For example, you might say, "I see what you're saying, but I think dot dot dot." Or, "That's a valid point, but I have to say I disagree because dot dot dot." By starting with acknowledgement, you're softening the blow and showing that you're not dismissing their thoughts outright. It's like adding a little cushion before delivering your counter argument. I'm using the word argument here because it has 2 meanings. It can mean when 2 people disagree and start raising their voices. We can say that is an argument. But this word can also mean the point you want to make, supported by your opinion, maybe some examples or proof. This is your argument for your idea or opinion. Now, the second strategy is to apologize before you disagree. This might sound strange at first, but it's actually a really effective way to disagree without appearing harsh. You could say something like, "I'm sorry, but I don't agree." Or, "My apologies, I respectfully disagree." It's kind of like knocking on a door before you enter a room. It's polite and shows consideration. By using this approach, you're acknowledging that your disagreement might not be what the other person wants to hear, but you're presenting it in a way that's gentle and considerate. And finally, the third strategy is to express neutrality or uncertainty. This is a great option if you're not 100% sure about your stance, or if you want to keep the conversation open-ended. For instance, you might say, "I'm not sure I agree with that," or "I have some hesitations about this." This strategy is like dipping your toes in the water instead of jumping right in. It allows for discussion rather than shutting things down with a firm no. Now let's put these strategies into action with real life scenarios. Imagine you're working on a project for a client and they suddenly request some last minute changes. They still want the project delivered on time and within the original budget. Right? Here's how you could handle it. You could say, "These are great suggestions. However, I feel we don't have enough resources to implement significant changes at this stage. The proposed changes will require an additional 3 to 4 weeks and will impact the budget. But don't stop there. To soften the disagreement, you might add, however, to keep things on track, I'd like to propose a few alternatives. This way, you're not just saying no, but you're offering solutions. Everyone loves solutions. Here's another scenario, this time with an acquaintance. Imagine you're on the association board for a building where you rent office space, and someone suggests raising maintenance fees to renovate the co-working area. You disagree because you've noticed that residents don't use it very much. How do you disagree without causing any drama? You could say, sorry, I have to disagree with the proposal to renovate the co-working space. I've observed that most residents prefer working in their units. Instead, I think we should focus on renovating the gym, which would benefit and justify the increase. So you see, you're disagreeing, but you're also showing that you've thought about the community's best interest. Now, let's switch to a more personal setting. Imagine you're discussing a topic like the government's recent changes to environmental taxes with a close friend who's really passionate about climate change. You disagree, but you don't want to hurt her feelings. What do? You could say, to be fair, I'm unsure whether the environmental tax is necessary. It might reduce fuel consumption temporarily, but it also increases living costs significantly. What do you think? This approach acknowledges their passion, but also invites them to consider another perspective. Finally, let's talk about disagreeing with loved ones. Sometimes you can be more direct with family or close friends, but it's still important to be respectful. Imagine planning a family vacation and your spouse suggests, I don't know, cave diving. You're totally against it. How do you say no without starting a fight? You might say, no way, I agreed with you until you mentioned cave diving. How about we go whale watching instead? It's direct, but it also shows that you're still interested in doing something together, just not the original suggestion. But what if, despite your best efforts, you and the other person just can't see eye to eye? No worries. There's a magic phrase you can use. Let's agree to disagree. It's a polite way to acknowledge that you're not going to find common ground, but you can still respect each other's opinion. So let's recap quickly. When you need to disagree, remember to acknowledge and show understanding. Apologize before disagreeing. Express neutrality or uncertainty. And don't forget to always be solution focused and respectful, no matter the situation. That's it for today's video on disagreeing politely in English. I hope you found these tips helpful and you'll feel more confident next time you need to express a differing opinion. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on more great content. And as always, leave a comment below with your thoughts or any questions you have. Remember, English might be your passport to a promotion. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.